Good afternoon. This is Glenn Terry on Glenn Terry Time. And I have the pleasure of being accompanied by the special talented Patty, who's multitasking constantly.
I am.
Multitasking.
Now it's even more multi with the tasking right now.
That's very true. Very true. So today is going to be kind of it's the same thing we do every fourth Monday of the month where Glenn Terry, myself, and we'll be going over some of the things that are highlighted in my business and things that are happening in nonprofit, humanitarian work, family, and so forth. And normally we have Jason Downs and our Bobby Marchesso is normally here, but these guys are out, I think, on the beach somewhere drinking some fun drinks or something.
Some mimosas, some Long Islands. Oh, yeah.
They're doing something.
They're
doing something, but we won't throw them under the bus.
Not too much, at least.
No, it's all good. So today I do have the pleasure of kind of going over some of the things that, which has been some really hot topics. I mean, no pun intended, but definitely with the fires, the wildfires happening. I'm going to cover some of that, and then we're going to go into some of the family stuff that I'm just encountering, not just personally, but just with friends and associates and so forth. But before I start that, what was your weekend like? I mean, you.
My weekend.
I'm kind of trying to do some comparison notes here.
Okay.
What did you do?
Little comparisons. All right. So, I mean, my weekend was pretty good. Saturday, just worked out, did, chores around the house, like doing the stuff you would do when you're off. Just did that. Watched some college football just because college was on.
Nice.
Thankfully, UCLA won. UCLA Bruins, go Bruins.
Nice.
Yesterday was Sunday. Sunday's football Sunday, so that was on throughout the whole entirety of my household.
Did your teams win?
No. No. One did, one didn't, but, well, what happens when your favorite team plays your second favorite team, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yes, I won, but but at what cost?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I mean, it's you're not going to get them every single weekend, I
No,
guess. So.
not at all.
But other than that, I mean, you just kind of stayed home. It sounded like you just kind of kept it home and did the things around the house.
Yeah, just took care of business for the weekend. Got some workout in. So yeah,
cool.
It was productive.
Ooh, workout. You got a workout. Huh?
Got an elliptical. Yeah,
nice. You are looking kind of buff today.
Stop. I mean, we're gonna say I try.
You do. You're starting to sculpt yourself there a little bit.
Sculpt myself. like a god, like I'm Adonis.
Adonis, that was looking good. That's a compliment.
Thank you.
So yeah, no, actually, it's kind of just about. It actually brings me into kind of a little bit about my weekend.
Yeah, how's yours?
So Sunday. I'm going to start with Sunday, even though Saturday was really special. Sunday was great. I had 9 games that I played underwater hockey.
Really?
So 9 games. And I'll go into a little bit of details because I know we have a little time here. So underwater hockey.
Underwater hockey.
Yeah, I know for those that are kind of like, what?
Me included.
What?
I've heard of it, but I didn't really think it was real.
So this is a sport that was it was basically started back in 1954, and it was developed by a underwater. They were like special forces kind of guys. That, they basically. They used training for water sports. So they just said, you know what, we need something to do that's fun, something under the water.
Right.
They want to continue their workouts during their break times. And so they invented the name Octopush.
Octopush.
So the stick is like kind of almost like a shuffleboard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Imagine a shuffleboard.
Yeah.
You got the little puck or something, the little thing you're pushing down there. So the puck is actually weighted. It's 3.5 pounds. It stays at the bottom of the pool.
Okay.
And this is, imagine yourself back in 1954. I mean, this is like, we're talking about these one-eye goggles. They got the big, scuba diver mask. They have the fins, and I don't know if they wore gloves. They were pretty tough guys back then. So they have these sticks that they just push the puck, and they would use it goal to goal. They created goals at 25 meters across the pool, and you just hold your breath. There's no oxygen. So it's you just hold your breath, play the game, and you go until obviously the scores, certain time limits. Now it's refined. So now they call it underwater hockey. When it went to Canada, of course, the Canadians have to get a hold of it and say, wait a minute, this is we got to change this to hockey. So what ended up happening is that the octopus stick went a different direction, and they went towards a one-handed stick that has a beveling that's 45 degrees,
Yeah.
and it's about a foot long. The stick, okay, it's not the normal hockey stick thing, but this stick that you just kind of move around and you push this puck around, and it's again 3.5 pounds. It's at the bottom of the pool, and you're holding your breath. But then the Canadians developed the flick. The flick.
The flick.
Yes. So the flick is a special term for, you are like at the top elite player if you
Ooh.
learn the flick.
Okay.
So the flick comes with like really time of training in your forearm strength and elbow and kind of throwing through the shoulder. You're kind of just launching this puck under the water about 6 feet or so in distance. So 5 meters, maybe a little bit more, that the puck comes off the ground and goes up in the air. Or in the water, not in the air.
Right.
I don't know, would that be considered the air? Probably not.
No,
the water.
but, yeah, I get what you mean.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it literally flies up in the water, and it goes to about 6 feet or so, and you're passing this along to players, and you're having 6 in the water, 4 in the sub box, and now it's just become such a competitive sport. It's in 32 countries. There's worlds every 2 years.
Wow.
And we host also the Pacific Coast Championships, the Atlantic side, Atlantic Coast. Then you have the Central. So there's competitions throughout the year for all the different states that we have. But internationally, there is worlds where they host that every 2 years. And coming up is actually the Pacific Coast Championship. It's going to be in October.
Wow.
So this is why I did 9 games.
Yeah,
So
see, yeah.
I'm kind of alluding to my long-winded conversation of underwater hockey. So the point is that, training to get to this point where our team is developed and ready to go for this championship, we'll be playing about 16, maybe 20 other teams.
Wow.
And and it's a pretty fierce competition. And it's places from Canada. There'll be teams from Canada. We have places from, let's say, Seattle, San Francisco, most of the Pacific Coast side. A couple years back, we actually had teams come from China, Colombia, and they joined into the tournament and stuff. So it's pretty cool, and it's a really great conditioning. My legs were like jello, and just definitely hurting after the time. But what a great weekend! Got the chance to do that, and then just on the other part of the weekend was just really spending time with quality family and hitting the movies, Jungle Book. I just Jungle Cruise. Sorry, the Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise. Went and saw that. That was really funny. I thought it was a great movie.
It's got The Rock. Of course, it's gonna be funny.
The Rock. You're always gonna have some good humor.
He is the charisma. He is the charisma.
You're right. Can you do the smolder?
Oh, you mean his look?
Yeah.
Not really. No. I can't even impersonate him well either. No. Like, can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
There it is. You did it.
It's not good. I was terrible.
I was sold on it.
I wasn't sold on myself.
I think this is when we need Bobby in on this one.
Yeah, no. If Bobby was here right now, he would literally just. I already hear just get out. He would be pointing, get out.
He would. You're exactly right. So yeah, well, great weekend. That's awesome. And so then I want to go into some topics that are really really kind of on the top of at least of what's going on with what's going on here with me locally, being in the insurance industry, and in one of the best areas that I guess that I can try to help people in the community, or at least let them be aware of it, is that the wildfire, areas, surrounding Santa Clarita Valley, are always under its, attack, let's say, from the brush fires. And
right, yeah.
And it's just, we just had 2 just not too long ago. They were kind of more towards Castaic or past Castaic area.
Yeah, just north and south of each other on the same freeway. Yeah,
so those have been contained. But then now all of a sudden you start hearing about high winds. And just today we had a claim come in for high winds. I mean, it's just, it goes from one thing to the next thing. And then unfortunately the high winds produce these little tornadoes that, kind of dust up, kick up the dust.
Little dirt devils, yeah.
Dirt devils, exactly. And so that ends up bringing up those little, those the brush fire that was there from maybe a week ago, which could kick that up. And that's what can start up another fire. So, some of the things that I'm looking into and I'm researching more on is prevention, just the preventive measures that are needed to take to keep these wildfires contained, and what are we doing in our state to, have that happen. So, one area that I noticed that Mr. Congressman Garcia is focused on is prevention. And one of the things that I noticed that he's looking at is putting together, this coalition, or he's got the backing to support funding towards a technology system that'll actually help track wildfires,
Ooh,
especially when
yeah.
they occur. Like, where do you go? Like, need to be there right away, so they can respond faster. Know that these are prime hot spots that can possibly come up. So then you have burn type, already happening in a place that the departments are going to go out and actually make sure they do the proper
Yeah.
brush clearance and so forth. So I'm reading up a lot on that, and I like what he's doing with California and where he's going with all this. And so that I'm definitely supporting. I think the money where we're spending the money there is definitely needed. Wildfires, I mean, it's always, everybody thinks it's around this time, but it's really no timeline.
Yeah.
But it's kind of that window of May till October. But it really started for us in July and October this year. And over the last, I want to say about 5 years, maybe 4 years. I mean, there's been roughly more than $1 billion, probably even more than that, I would say by now. But the numbers are staggering when it comes to losses, and this is insurance losses. I'm not talking about in the wilderness or the wildfire, but I'm just talking about insurance claims themselves. So the California Department of Insurance, the insurance carriers, have a tremendous job of trying to manage, these costs. And this is what I'm trying to allude to, is that, with insurance, everybody's starting to see it. We're all getting hit with this moratorium of, oh, we can't sell insurance in this area. We can't sell insurance in that area. And so now that's becoming a lot harder, because it's almost from 4 or 5 years ago, those fires that have happened back then, and they're still continuing to happen.
Yeah.
But these insurance carriers are they don't have the funding, and so we share in all those costs. I don't know if you knew this, but California, we're in a state where, if the wildfires happen up north, well, that affects an insurance company who insures that area of those buildings that have been burned and destroyed. Well, if you live down in Southern California, your rates are affected because you're part of the pool. You're part of the whole part of California.
That would make sense, yeah.
So that's what we're seeing. And you might get a client, like I get clients that say, well, I'm not in a brush fire area, and why is my price going up? And that's exactly what's happening, is we're getting a lot of folks that, are just, it's hard for them to understand that cost, that breakdown for insurance companies when it comes to paying out claims. So we're seeing a really drastic changes in prices right now.
Yikes.
On homeowners insurance especially, and commercial buildings. I mean, commercial locations are they're getting hard. Getting really hard to insure right now as well. So the great thing is, I've been doing this for 22 years. So
that is a very good sell, yeah.
So I think in a sense that makes for, again, we have a pretty broad picture of where we can go with markets. And
Sure, yeah.
so that's one of the things that we're trying to, have the ability to help those that can't get insurance.
Yeah.
Placed. We do have the California Fair Plan, but the Fair Plan is also being pushed right now with their amount of retention for how much they have on their books is getting up there pretty high, and so they're keeping an eye on how much business that they can actually take on, which is part of the reason why they're making their underwriting even tougher now. So which means that they just have more boxes to check, or they make you go out and do photos on properties now where they didn't before. So they're just making it harder for us to place that business, because they're telling us they just don't want the business. It's just hard to, they're just getting to that point of.
It's more specific, yeah.
Exactly. So it's a tough biz, but I just wanted to kind of piece together so people kind of understand how the wildfires, how a catastrophic or even a large event, and so these are cat losses, some of these big events when you get the big fires, but some of these homeowner markets still take on those huge losses, and they pass that down to the consumer. And where you may not be in an affected area, but you're feeling the price increases that come along with it, and that's really what's pushing and driving these costs, and not to mention inflation. I mean, cost of materials are going up, construction's going up, so. There's a lot of things that are impacted by this at the same time. So I got a bunch of notes on it, but I mainly wanted to just kind of touch on some of that, and I'll come back to some of this. And but for now, just again, I think if you have issues or concerns with your commercial business or your residential home, and you've gotten to the point where you get these huge increases, or you've received a letter of cancellation. I mean, there's options out there. You just, there are, unfortunately, there is, premiums that go along with that. And I'm just trying to, I guess, mainly just advise people to know that this is across the board. It's not one particular carrier, insurance company, or one particular agency that's doing this. It's across the board.
It's like the entirety of California,
Correct.
whether it's north or south. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but other than that, if you have questions, you can reach me at my office. I'd be happy to help and direct people even if it's just information. And they could reach me at my office, which is 661-702-6005. Again, 661-702-6005. And that's with the agency called LBW Insurance and Financial Services. And that's it on that topic. So,
Oh, sweet. Well, Glenn, I mean, that's really good with wildfires. I mean, that actually kind of opens everybody's minds on just with how it impacts insurance and how, yes, Northern California fires do, in a way, still affect you, even though you're down here in Southern California. That's actually really interesting stuff. Glenn, if you want to, we can also go to break right now. I kind of just transition to set you up, or do you want to keep going?
I was actually just add towards the end.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Just
go
a
for
couple
it.
things I wanted to point out on how to lower your risk.
Bingo. Let's do it.
So, if you want to try to get, keep yourself from going into the cancellations or having the time to where you have to spend all this time researching what carriers, insurance companies are going to accept you. There are things you can do right now that can lower your risk as a homeowner, as a commercial building owner, and some of it's out of your control.
Right.
But there are some things that you specifically can do. One is just looking at the mitigation of your own risk, looking at your property, and if you have a brush that's coming up against your building or your home, or if there's tree lines that are overhanging on the house, you should be clearing those areas. I mean, the fire department's 100 feet. They're typically pretty conservative when it comes to it. But for insurance, homeowners insurance companies, or even commercial building insurance for that matter, they want a lot more clearance than that. And if you have the ability to do that, you can do your own mitigation of risk retention, like retaining yourself to that insurance company by showing to them that you're taking the actions necessary to keep these areas clear. That does help when it comes time to just keep in touch with your underwriter or your insurance agent at the company that you're with. Other things are your buildings have suppression, fire suppression, sprinkler systems in the buildings themselves. The newer houses have sprinkler systems.
And extinguishers, I would
Yeah,
assume,
so
too.
these are all things that homeowners and commercial insurance companies are looking for to make sure that you have the proper tools to help with a fire if something does come along your way. And it's not using the fire hose or the hose out front of your house is not going to do the trick. So, but definitely having some of these things on ready to go. I mean, it's emergency stuff, but there's things that where you're building a building or if you're building a home, definitely these are requirements now. But if you're in an older home, you may not have all these things. You mentioned the simple thing that you could have is a fire extinguisher.
Right, yeah.
And there are credits. There are actually homeowners markets give you a credit for having a fire extinguisher.
Oh, right on.
Small, but it's sometimes required to make sure that you actually check off on that application that you do have a fire extinguisher. So, but again, just trying to help reduce those risks is going to give you a little bit better chance to stay with that insurance company. And if all that fails and you're still getting that notice of cancellation of non-renewal, then again, just give me a call or give your agent a call, and normally they may have a second choice or another option for you. But if not, I'm available. So just reaching out to the community or wherever in California. Really, I write in all of California, so we can help out with that. So other than that.
Alrighty. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, this is Glenn Terry with Glenn Terry Time. It's our little special once a month episode of The Common Ground with our host with the most right now for this episode, Mr. Glenn Terry. We will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to break. Just check us out on 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. We'll be back real soon.
When was the last time you had a business insurance checkup? That long, eh? It's most likely Glenn Terry time for you and your business. Glenn Terry has been a Santa Clarita resident since 1980 and has deep roots in the community. 22 years in the insurance industry, a trusted commercial insurance specialist with LBW, licensed in 50 states. There's nobody I'd trust more. Call Glenn Terry today and set up your free business insurance checkup at 661-702-6005. Glenn Terry sticks to the mission, not the co-mission. Yeehaw!
Santa Clarita, bedbugs are taking over our city. They've invaded our homes, our businesses, and most importantly, our sleep. If you have suspicious bites that appear nightly, or have a bug that you need ID'd, your best option is to make one call to All Pro. We offer a 100% guarantee that your bedbug issues will be solved with heat in one treatment. No need to tent or spray your house with chemicals. Heat is all you need. Call 661-298-2200 or text me a bug picture to 661-645-0540. It's time to sleep tight again, SCV.
Youth workshops return to the Canyon Theater Guild. Join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting September 7th for 10 weeks of teamwork and fun while creating theater magic. Our day class from 12:30 to 3:30 will create the fun, pixelated world of video games with Press Start, while our after-school class from 4 to 6 embarks on a swashbuckling adventure with space pirates. Class size is limited, so register today at 661-799-2702 or visit canyontheater.org.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back to Glenn Terry time with my special guest. All right, you know what? Instead, the controller of everything in my hour here, Patty Levine.
Patty Levine. I love it. with the engineer.
The engineer.
I'm like, I'm your guest. No, you're your own guest, mister. You're the host and the guest with the most.
There you go. I appreciate that very much.
Of
Thank
course.
You. All right, so this point in time, I want to talk about some stuff that's going on in the family. As you might be aware, this special one session out of the month, I kind of break these sessions up and go into business, and we talk about family time, and then we go into some nonprofit type stuff that's going on in the community. So this time at family, I just wanted to kind of focus on internally, just what's going on with my family, and then just check in with, maybe Patty, if you have something to add to it. And,
for sure.
There's just a lot of good topics that are going on around it. And, I think it's important that people do a lot of check-in with themselves and their own family and where they're at. And so let me just dive right into it. So as a single parent, some of you may know, but single parenting is not an easy thing to do. And my kids, they're primarily live with me, but my son's now off to college. He's at Grand Canyon University, which I think he's enjoying it because I don't hear from him. So, I think that's normal. I don't know.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not talking about it, it means you're pretty much in it.
Yeah, he's taking this time definitely as he's really checked out. I mean, he's doing really well. I'm not gonna razz him too much, but the point is that I think at this point, as a parent, I had a tough time. I didn't realize that I had a tough time letting go. There are a lot of things that I was doing and managing and taking care of while he was in high school and making sure he did this and take care of that and next thing I know it, I'm like, oh, I've been fired.
So it's like the leaving of the nest type thing right now. Yeah,
exactly. It's kind of it's something I have to. I guess you just take time to learn. You just got to let go of it, and that's something that's been hitting me every week. Is just kind of trying to check in with myself and like, hey, he's fine. Just let him be his thing. Let him do his thing, and he's his grades. He says he's doing well, and he's pretty proud of him. He did as he got to Arizona. I mean, I'm imagining scorching hot.
Right.
Last thing I think that he's going to come, with like, oh, Dad, I'm feeling sick or something happened. So it turns out like a week ago, he didn't tell me, of course, and he doesn't want to say anything to Dad. but he has a cold, and he's been
Oh.
fighting this little sniffly and cough thing, but what did he do? He went to the nurse's offices there at the Grand Canyon University, and he got the COVID test. It's required, and so he got the 2 different tests, one in the nasal and one in the mouth. I guess they made him do both. And then he went and got his doctor's appointment set up, and he went and saw the doctor, and checked for strep throat, checked for COVID, everything cleared, negative, thank God, good. And from there, he's just like, yeah, Dad, it's just they're saying it's a common cold, I guess, and they just gave me some medicines over the counter, and he's gonna just kind of rest, drink water. This is him telling me all this stuff, and I'm like, man, he took my job. Like, this is what I was doing before he took off to college. Yeah, he did. I was really impressed by the fact that he did all that, and he's taken off. So it's really cool. So I mean, again, parenting is challenging because I'm going through those emotions where I was doing this and now I'm not, and but it's really cool to kind of see that, and I kind of really tip my hat to those that. Not just single parenting, but parenting in general. And when their kids are away at college, it's a tough time. I don't think the kids realize how much the parents go through.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know about you. Have you seen any of that going on? Like, you have stuff in your family like that?
Well, I mean, as far as like me and my sister, we still live at home. We've gone off to do college, but I didn't stay at college. Mine, I mean, I went down to 1,000 Oaks, but I would make that commute and then I would go to work after. So it was like, yes, I wasn't, away from home, but there was times where I was only at home interval. Like my parents would probably see me maybe an hour for like 5 out of they would see me on the weekend practically. I'd see them more. Hi, Mom, going, bye. I would come home and they'd be like, hey, home. Okay, cool. And then, but so no, not really fleeing the nest, but they were more so like, well, like, oh, I haven't even seen you in forever. It's like, oh my God, responsibilities.
Did you feel a change from them as parents? I mean, was it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
They kind of they would always be like, how are you doing at school? Grades good, but they were never strict. But they kind of it almost like they gave me the freedom to do you doing good? Yeah. Like, oh, I didn't really do a test. Like, well, what'd you do? I'm like, I didn't sleep good last night. I was out with the boys. Like, well, that's why. They're like, you got it. If you don't do it, you're gonna fail. And but they weren't on me. They're just like
the normal thing before college.
Yeah, they weren't how it was in high school where they weren't on me. They were
checking the grades and checking the classrooms.
No, they not once did that. And they were just more so you reap what you sow is basically what they instilled on me. Like, you're your own person. Yeah, exactly. They're like, you're your own person. If you succeed, you succeeded on your own. Congratulations, good job. That's good. If you failed, all right, you failed. That's on you. You have to live with that. But it's where but even when because I had trouble in a couple classes. Not all of it was easy. But you know what? I never relied on them. Like, Mom, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I relied on myself to I picked myself back up to go do it, because Mom and Dad are like, it's not about, they're like, don't be afraid to fail. It's about picking yourself up and doing what you can going forward with it. How do you attack that?
Nice.
Yeah.
So you obviously you picked it up.
Obviously I did, because I mean, look, hindsight right now. I mean, I got a degree. I graduated college.
Yeah, but I don't know. You're kind of working with Bobby Marchesso. Is that moving forward?
Is that moving on up? I would say so, yeah. But no, but my parents raised not only myself but my sister too. They raised 2 pretty good kids. We have good. I would say we have good heads on our shoulders. We stay out of trouble. We're both one's currently in college. I have graduated, but we're doing the most we can.
Nice,
the best we can.
And then what subject did you? What did you go into?
I actually was in communications. Was my major. Obviously, where I got my degree was general communications. Obviously, where I struggled with was more of the math and the science and the math ones, just because the numbers and find out the quadratic formula. And I'm like, what? I'm like, we're not math majors in the house. Like, my mom and dad are not mathy either. So I'm like, oh, you gotta help me.
The eyes just go glossy.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's like, all right, 2 + 2. I'm like, what? Oh, it's 4, right? And Okay, we're not. It's not.
We weren't
that
even
dumb.
on that planet.
But no, it's just math was not our thing. I was more of a history and public
cool.
speaking and history. Kind of history was
Yeah.
okay. My sister is more of the media, and she did a lot better in history as well. I don't know where it was. We're not like historians in the house or
Sure.
librarians, but writing kind of was a little bit of a somehow, some way, kind of became a thing where we were like, hey, we can kind of write a little bit.
And you guys put that to
It's just,
apply it.
I guess we just
awesome.
inherited it from just like from the school system, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's great. Well, no, there's exact examples of kind of what I'm thinking that he's probably thinking on the other flip side of it, what
Right.
you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm just doing. I'm saying the same thing. Like, just apply what you know that you need to apply to it, and you're going to get your outcome based on how much you put towards it. So,
Yeah.
And I'm giving them that space.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
And I think, for the most part, that's been the biggest change for me is just letting him transition into that adult and, be that kid and go out there at the same time, experience something new. And, he's telling me that he's joined a club and he's
that's
out,
good.
he's out night, hanging out with the friends and doing things. And I'm like, that's fantastic.
No,
this is
that's
great.
very good. No,
I think
clubs are good.
social aspect of things is, I think, really important, especially because he's in another state.
Right.
And that was one of my, I don't want to call it a fear, but I was just worried about him. Like, are you going to connect with people? Are you going to have friends? Or, that's definitely a parent's concern. I think they get worried about that. And, so I think that's an important thing, like you're saying. It is like you want to get them connected as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about college, too, as from what I saw, is college is much drastically different from high school, and not even in a bad way or anything. It's more adult. As far as where I went to school, teachers treated you not like kids; they treated you like young adults.
Yeah.
Respected. We're very, very respectful, very, very engaging, but also very much like it wasn't like, hi, we're the teacher. It's more so they were kind of like your mentor,
Yeah.
in a way. And just kind of like they gave you freedoms with this, but they also it's like, hey, you failed. All right, you failed, but like, hey, like, can I advise you, like, maybe do this next time, maybe this, like,
Yeah.
they were more of teachers I had personally were much more engaging, much more open. And they actually, I actually had a couple teachers in college that were actually really, really insightful and actually really helped me when I was struggling. Like I had an essay in one class where I failed this essay. Like I bombed it.
Yeah.
It was bad. And and she talked to me after class. She's like, hey, like, I'm gonna give you like some, like, would you like some lessons, or like I have a program you can go into for. It was just like a little workshop.
So did you approach her or did?
I was going to, but like, is there any way to do it? And she's like, well, actually, but before I was even going to, she came to me like, hey, I
Wow.
want to talk to you. Like, hey, I want to talk to you.
Well, and again, I mean, it's just going to depend, I think, at the level of what the professor, is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think some are. I know my son had a couple professors that were, not to say anything, but they're just they will let you be whoever you want to be, and they won't stay in touch with you whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
So this professor sounded like she obviously had, hey, that's not normal for you, maybe, or maybe
Yeah.
I could see you struggled, and let me.
It wasn't my
reach out to
first
you.
essay. It was like the second, or like because like we do in English, like you'll send like English like scripts, or
Right,
like
right.
it's like you send like reports here and there, and then it's just like she notices, she's like, what's going on? What's up with
Well,
this?
that's as a parent, you hope your kid gets somebody like that.
Yeah. It was a more engaging class, though. I mean, some classes
So
are a little
to
big.
just advise, or at least point out, and being you've come from college,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have kids that are going to college, I mean, this is where we hope that you have a professor that has that that knowledge of at least
Yes.
reaching out and but not that they have to. It's not something they're required to do. And,
Yeah,
and
it's
I think
'cause they want
sometimes
to.
there is that lesson of like, well, you know what, don't come to me at Christmas time and tell me you're struggling.
Yeah.
This is on you. You should be checking in with me. And some do take that approach. And and I think my son got that the first week that he
Oh,
started
really?
attending. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a wake up call that's how the person spoke to him, and I was just like, all right, well, that's really insightful, because then now he knows it's clear, like he knows what he needs to do. If he doesn't check in with this person, he's just not going to be able to get the information he needs when he needs it.
Yeah, right.
So without going in and saying, well, I never heard from you, you never said anything, but no, they're telling you, yeah, you have the reins. This is on you.
Yeah.
know?
No, it's true. There's a lot of responsibility
Right.
going into it, but it's a lot on you. Like, it's a lot more responsibility on you, but that freedom is also, it's not so much like, yeah, it's just you, but it's also kind of like a freedom of, it's like,
Right.
it is on me. And Some people like. I'm not saying it's all sunshine and rainbows. Everybody's gonna be, it's just gonna click like that. There's gonna be a lot of, like highs and lows. Like it's gonna be a roller coaster. Like it wasn't easy for me, but I mean somehow, some way, like through blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, I say this like metaphorically, of course,
Sure.
but like through all my hard work, it paid off in the end. It really did.
I would have
You'll
thought
find a way.
physically you did all that, but okay. Anyways,
I mean, you're
you're
right.
just so ripped,
Right. No, but like you'll figure it out. And even if like whether it's school or not, you're going to figure it out somehow, some way, like of just whether it's school or yourself, you're going to figure something out what is best for you in that moment. It doesn't matter where it is. It's like college is your time to find you, the person. What do you want to do right now or later, wherever?
That's
And
awesome.
that's
Patty.
where it'll get you.
So give me a nugget here for a parent that may be listening here.
Okay.
And you obviously, getting out of college and now you're on your career mode here and stuff. But what's that one single? And you don't have kids, right?
No, I
mean,
do
never
not.
asked. I don't. But
No, I do
assuming.
not. you
Not
don't have to.
assuming.
I do not.
So what would be that nugget you can tell a parent during this time, this process of their kids are way at college, and they're kind of going through this little thing like I'm talking about. They're concerned. They're always got that, I just got out of high school where I was managing it all. Yeah. And now I'm like, I'm no longer needed. And what's your advice?
I would say be supportive of what they want to do. I would say let them breathe a little bit, give them some freedom, but always if you're very close with your child even going forward, I would say give them some space a little bit, but you could check in on them on a weekend or something. Like, hey, did you have a really good week? Don't go like are you on top of your homework? Are you just more so like just a conversation of like, hey, how's your weekend going? Like, is everything going awesome? Just like make it more of a like engaging and inviting, not like you're looking for, and I say looking for trouble in a way of don't like try and corner them. Just like, because granted, college on your own that's overwhelming on itself. Sometimes you're stressed with school, and trust me, I was there. I was overwhelmed with just one assignment. So like, just be like almost like you're like a guiding wind from afar, like how's it going? Like. Like everything going good, and it's like no, it's like, well, what's going on?
That's a good nugget.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
You're there. Just whenever you do, be it in a very supporting manner and everything, and you don't have to go asking them questions; they will give it to you.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice. How about like kiss emojis? Are those okay? No. Hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses. Maybe, depends. Are you trying to embarrass them in front of their friends? Because if so, that's a good one to do.
Because I mean, they're all texting nowadays. I mean, that's one thing too I've seen. Is
right.
I don't get the phone call anymore. It's more of a text.
True. Right.
I'm good, Dad. All right, great. Do you have any more to say? No.
It's like
one word sentences. I'm like
K.
Yeah, exactly. I should say abbreviations.
Abbreviations, really. It's like yup.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess the emojis take place over that sometimes. And I don't know. Maybe that's still old school.
No, I still use emojis when I text. I always use like that cry laughing face.
We should do a topic just on emojis.
Like what's your most used emoji? We could just dig into that one.
I do send him one. I mean, I do kind of similar to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And but it's still challenging. I
mean,
it is. As a parent,
nothing's perfect.
Now on the flip side of that, the parent, where I have, been very close to him for a long time, and mainly because of his disabilities and things that he's been encountering for a long time, and that's where I kind of step in because I know I've had to be there for countless hours of, helping him during certain situations that put me in a place where you get kind of a little concerned,
Right, of course.
So that's where it's, I guess it's just, but even more so, I think it's time to really, I saw in Brandon a huge change, and I think that's where I felt like, what, he's got this. And I think the resources are there. And that's another thing. Do your due diligence when it comes to looking at your colleges, and make sure your resources are for there.
Exactly.
That was huge. And so super excited for him, and definitely supportive. And I love the the nugget for the families.
Of
and parents,
course,
so.
of course. Just going from the because I'm also a child of my parents. And
You are a child.
I am a child, but I was there. I was the student. I was in college. Like
Yep.
I know what it's like, and I'm just sharing like how my parents did it. And
Exactly.
now by no means is it a guideline. It's just more of just showing like from how it was for me. It doesn't mean it has to be like that.
Right.
But just what I'm just saying what worked extremely well for me, and just what I saw, and that's exactly what I needed. But it's what exactly your kid needs, not what everybody else needs. It's what they need.
Perfect.
Bingo. And ladies and gentlemen, we got Glenn Terry for a Common Ground special episode of Glenn Terry Time. We are going to be taking a quick break. We should be back in a few minutes on 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS.
You had a business insurance checkup. That long, eh? It's most likely Glenn Terry time for you and your business. Glenn Terry has been a Santa Clarita resident since 1980 and has deep roots in the community. 22 years in the insurance industry, a trusted commercial insurance specialist with LBW, licensed in 50 states. There's nobody I'd trust more. Call Glenn Terry today and set up your free business insurance checkup at 661-702-6005. Glenn Terry sticks to the mission, not the co-mission. Yeehaw!
This is Jill from the Santa Clarita Grocery, the all-volunteer grocery program serving children, families, and individuals experiencing food insecurities. Since January 2020, Santa Clarita Grocery has distributed 83 tons of fresh groceries to our 4,655 families in the SCV community. Santa Clarita Grocery is a drive-up, drive-through service with physical distancing in place to continue serving our community. If you are in need or looking for a charity to do the most good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery, one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. A full 99 cents out of every dollar goes directly back to the community. Santa Clarita Grocery operates on a 1% overhead and is sustained through private donations. Santa Clarita Grocery is at 21176 Center Point Parkway in the Oasis Furniture parking lot. Please visit our website at santaclaritagrocery.org or our Facebook at Santa Clarita Grocery to make a difference in our awesome town community. 425-7575. Be our guest and experience the difference.
I listen to it all day, every day.
Hometown, your hometown station.
And welcome back to Glenn Terry Time and my special, really great looking guy, Patty Levine.
Hey, I was about to say you got to be talking about Jason or Bobby. It can't be me. They're not here right now.
We put you three in a lineup. I don't know, man. I'd pick you every time.
Well, I think it's because because I look ripped in my shirt right now. I think that's probably why.
But
thank you.
We're really roasting those two guys, aren't we?
I mean, to be fair, they always
they
get
deserve
me.
the roasting. They do pick on you a lot.
I do love them a lot, though.
Yeah.
But
Should
they're
we-
not here. They're not here to defend themselves this
Should
time.
we get some dirt on them? You want to talk about it? We'll talk about this during this session.
I hear Bobby laughs for real and everything.
I bet you go home and you're probably sleeping at night and you're like, wow, was that Bobby just laughing in my dream?
I hear him laughing in the distance. Make it stop.
Oh gosh, it's
oh
good
my
to have
goodness.
that. Yeah, I mean, this is good. You get it out. It's part of the session.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't give you a chance, But Glenn Terry gives you a chance.
Glenn Terry gives. Yeah, maybe Glenn Terry time is the time for me too. Jason and Bob, you're like,
You heard it. You heard it.
Jason and Bob are gonna come back next week and be like, why? You gave him one thing to talk about, and now he's taking it over.
Yeah, he's taking it over.
But by all means.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. So as everybody knows, this is, again, kind of three segments that I like to go into. You heard about the wildfires on the insurance side of the first session, and then the second part, we went into some of the stuff about family and college and parenting, and Patty did a nice job of giving us a good nugget for the parenting side on the kids side. kind of perspective, so which is really great. So now I'm going to dive into something that's going on here in the community, Santa Clarita Valley, some nonprofit type stuff, giving back and being involved in your community and so forth. So one of the things that I'm working on currently is just maybe more of a liaison or being there in the background of helping and getting the key people connected is something that I think is pretty special. And this is some folks coming from the senior center. Some lovely ladies that are artists.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like artsy.
Me too, man. I dig the arts, and I think, our city definitely always needs art. And not to mention, just the entertainment, Limley Theater right down the street from
Yeah,
us.
exactly, yeah.
It's great stuff out here we have in Santa Clarita. So one of the things that these ladies are trying to do is they're going to put together, and they're working with the city, and they're looking at locations currently. And it hasn't been revealed yet where they're going to be, but they're looking at different locations to put a mural. They're going to start painting murals around parts of the city. Or at least that's the goal. And we're going to need to work on some location spots for them. And so I got them partnered up with the city. And your senior center, you have the folks there that are working with them, because this is a class that the seniors attend, an art class. And so they came up with this idea, a really good friend of mine, and she's basically just said, you know what, we would really like to start doing something in the city as a class, as a group, as a seniors, to give back to the community and start painting and doing murals around the city. So these are, really talented ladies too. And men, I'm assuming there's both. I just met the two women that are spearhead in this thing, but definitely, there's just, this amount of passion that they want to give back to the community.
Yeah.
So I felt that was something I really want to help. And so I jumped in and got the connection through the city. So they're working on that currently. And at some point, there'll probably be some fundraising. I think the senior center will jump into, because they'll be the 501c3, the nonprofit side. But there'll be, funding needed to help get this thing started. And so that's something that's hopefully going to come up in, soon, near future here. So, but wanted to point out Limley Theater. Have you been there yet?
It's actually, you mean Lamley?
Lamley, sorry.
Lamley Theater?
I'm pronouncing it wrong.
I've not been to this one. There was another one down in by Hollywood. I've actually been there once.
Did you go there? Okay.
I've gone to one. Yeah, it's
nice.
Actually it was a really nice, very, very close knit and homely feeling.
I noticed actually haven't had a chance yet to get in there, but I noticed the seating is. Yeah, you get the close, at least the smaller theater type, seating and so forth. But inside, I'm sure it's immaculate.
It was a lot. It was different from your normal movie theaters, but different in a good way. It felt more close and more just. You could see the whole screen. Every scene it felt like every seat was the best seat in the house.
Nice.
Is basically how I would describe it.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then I didn't notice too. I didn't know this, but I guess the regular movies, some of the movies are being played there too. I thought they were just other types of movies, documentaries, or
independent
films. But there's a mixture of both, so you're kind of able to see a little bit of everything there.
Cater to all.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that. So again, arts and entertainment, things that are happening here in Santa Clarita Valley. I don't have too much. I don't have a lot of information on the stuff going on with the senior center yet. But it's things that we're keeping an eye on, and at least that I want to support here in the community and give back. And I'm not sure if Patty, you have anything to add to that, or what you think would work here in Santa Clarita Valley.
No,
you see that.
Don't got a whole lot, but it's good that the seniors are, the whole art thing with painting murals, and if you put a lot of passion into art, of course it's gonna move people. It doesn't matter what is it about? It doesn't matter. They put a lot. It's just some people just feel inspired to do art. I'm not the best artist or sketching, but if I feel compelled to do something, I'm going to do it. And then I know it's not great, but I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it.
I don't know about you, but when I draft or draw, you just kind of, I don't know, there's just this peace, this quietness, or just
it's like
serene. Kind of you just get that serene, time to yourself and relaxation, kind of away from all the busyness.
Yeah, no,
I don't know if you feel the same way.
It does. It makes time go by fast too. I I was just drawing a logo for just like the Dodgers, just because I was just passing time. And it's like
You
3
mean you
hours.
got hired by the Dodgers to draw their logo?
I mean, well, let's see. But it just, in 2 hours go by, and I'm like, are you, what?
Yeah.
Where did, I'm like, wow. And it's not like I was just like, yeah, and just listening to some good music, doing that. And I just did it just because I'm like, I had the time.
Yeah. So, and again, this is kind of what I'm just pointing out, that, just the point of just trying to give yourself some of that time. It goes back into the family time as a parent, but, the nonprofit, giving back to your community, just be, I'm out there trying to be as much involved with my community as possible when it comes to business, and just being mindful of my own family and taking care of those around me, as well as the community service stuff that's going on out there. So I definitely keep an eye out for this thing that we're going to do with the senior center. That'll be something soon. And in the meantime, if anybody wants to check in with me, have any questions on anything, you can reach me at 661-702-6005. And Glenn, again, it's Glenn Terry time. And Patty, I really appreciate your time.
Of course. Appreciate having you here too, Glenn. That's about it, ladies and gentlemen. This was another special episode broadcast of Common Ground featuring Glenn Terry for Glenn Terry time. As we all say, I'm trying to think of what Jason's outro is, but
You know what? Just, you don't need to go off.
I don't even need to go off.
You create your own.
Create your own. Ladies and gentlemen, till next time, this is Common Ground with your special host / guest, Mr. Glenn Terry. I'm the engineer, Patty. Till next time, we'll see you on Common Ground. This is 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS.